thought this was based on outstanding contribution, and I listened. And you are doing amazing work. I became aware of you. I was still a programming guy at J-Corps. We had WGST in Atlanta, which was a pretty good station back then. We had Neil Bortz and Clark Howard, and we would like the Detroit and Atlanta were the first two stations to take a rush after New York. And we were killing SB, because SB was terrible. Giant signal and sleepy old programming from the 1950s, and you know if they woke up it was trouble, but it's an old newspaper company, they're never going to do that. And then this news guy from Connecticut comes down to Grand Rapids or somewhere, and all of a sudden SB is a different station. And you did it in a way, our styles are completely different. I'm colorful, and we were at GST, we were trying to be edgy, and we'd put up, billboards that said, best, worst weather coverage, lightning and stuff. He just puts up weather, traffic. It was linear, focused, on point, perfect, consistent, and it didn't take long for you to take that big signal and eat our lunch. And the signal's only part of the reason. You continue to do things. I'm sorry, I think one of the best news talks in the country, given the resources and the size of the town. I listen to HIO in Dayton, which has no employees, no staff, and it sounds huge. Yes, they use the television station, the newspaper, they do better than anyone. During the Oregon district shooting, they were 24/7. They sounded like they had a staff of thousands. They did everything right. They reassured people, they provided information, it was high touch, it was just fabulous radio. I'm sorry, there are some big stations with which I've been associated that might have just carried the basketball game or the racing or something else because somebody paid for it. I'm just listening. I think the stations you consult do the best job. They're different styles, but your stuff is just spot on. And you've trained some of the best spoken word programmers in the business. So for me, it was pretty easy. I listened to what's out there, what impresses me. It's your stuff. So you're the star today. Congratulations. I won't make you drink tequila, although if Andrew Ashwood were alive, he would. Ladies and gentlemen, recognition for his outstanding contribution to spoken word radio.
Thank you, Andy. Well, thanks for the applause. I gotta say, when Don Anthony called me and said, you're the winner of the Andrew Ashwood Award, and I went, what? That can't be right. Who nominated me? Randy Michaels? Randy Michaels? I don't even know the guy. And we worked in the same town. Back in the day, there was kind of a feud between J-Corps and Cox. So,
well, we used to call ourselves the cocksackers.
Well, Ken knows all this. So the previous two speakers are going to be a lot more funnier than I am. But a shout out to Randy. I mean, if you were here yesterday afternoon for his talk, we need more of that in this business. I mean, the passion that he has, the smarts that he has, but he's a guy that can will you to win, and he did that forever. And I just want to give props to Randy for that. Thank you. That was really cool. So I did not know Andrew. I met him once. I was impressed, but everybody tells me that Andrew was like the life of the room. Just full of passion, full of discipline, winning, but also could be very compassionate. And we honor him, and I'm humbled to be added to the list of winners in his name. So I wish I had known him more, but I've heard so many great stories, and so it's truly an honor. I thought I would tell a story or two because there have been a few past winners I've consulted about how long you speak, what you say, and I'm in good company with previous winners, so that's also an honor. But I thought I'd speak for just a moment, and this won't be long, just, how the hell did a news guy become a program director? I mean, it just happens, not too frequently. But I got my first job as news director at WTIC in Hartford after being at Phil Station with radio for like 6 years. I got remarried, decided to go, got the news director job, and had to put the right people on the bus. And after about 3 months, we had this great marketing thing that happened called the William Kennedy Smith trial. And if you remember, that was the trial with the blue dot on the TV screens, and it was daily, it was every day, and it was all kinds of bad, dirty words. We probably killed off 80, 70-year-olds an hour. But I was told not to run it. And after about the 4th day of testimony and having our entire newsroom watch it all on TV and everyone else watching it on TV, and after the last Anne Murray record that we played in the afternoon, I went on the air, and I was anchoring Afternoon Drive, and I just said, screw it, we're airing this thing. And potted it up, and anchored it. Called my wife ahead of time, and I said, I might want to be packing someplace, because I didn't know what the reaction would be. But after about a half hour, I did get a call from the corner office. Yeah, Gary Zinobili would like to see you immediately in his office. Okay. All right, this is going to be fun. But lo and behold, and it's a lesson of taking sometimes stupid challenges or making decisions that don't always work out. But I walked into his office and I was expecting to get handed the door. I really was, because I was explicitly told not to run it. But he was a hot-headed Italian. He was kind of young. So I opened the door, kind of cracked one, and get in here. Okay. Did you make that decision to run this trial? I said, yep. Did you consult anybody about it? No. That was the best decision this radio station has made in 30 years, is what he said, because we were at the precipice of trying to turn a great brand, but a station into the current century. And that included putting in Rush and all kinds of other stuff. But it's an example of how, if you take a chance, it might work out. So how did I get my job at WSB? So I was going through the old Radio and Records publication I liked a lot with Al Peterson. And we used to, we used to look forward to getting those every week in our office, right, Jim? And there was a blurb in there that was maybe page 3, and it said WSB, after 6 months, still cannot find a program director. And the article said they've interviewed 35 people and whatever. So I think I was feeling a bit frisky that day because I had good ratings, so I just had made a decision to cold call the general manager at WSB. I had no previous relationship with them. I'd never even thought about going to Atlanta. I'd never been to Atlanta. But I called him up under the promise of just saying, hey, I hope you don't mind, I'm Greg Moceri for WTIC. He picked up the phone because his secretary was gone. And he goes, who? I said, Greg Moceri at WTIC. Never heard of you, but good station. I said, I'm calling to find out why you can't find a PD. I'm just curious. You're a big station, 50,000 watts, voice of the South, blah, blah, blah. Said I just happened to find the right person, and he was working with the old consultant E. Carl. So, long story short, we talked for 5 minutes. He said, I'll call you back tomorrow. He called me back the next day. He said, when can you get down here? He said, you got to talk to E. Carl tonight from your house. Then he called me the next day. So he and I had an hour conversation. Mark called me the next day. How quick can you get down here for an interview with me and Bob Neal? Bob Neal was running the company at the time. I said, probably 2 days. I can't make it tomorrow because I'll probably get fired if I try to get out of here tomorrow. If you don't guys give me the job. But I went down there and I had nothing to lose. I'd listened to the station for a couple of days, met with those guys for 6 hours, And, you know, when you have no fear, you can really operate pretty well about what you think and see and feel and hear, what's missing. How do you tarnish an old brand? You don't. You gotta change it up. You got different people on the bus. You gotta really move in a different direction. So I said, you guys are getting a 1-2 show right now on Morning Drive. We could get a 7. We could. You wanna put that in my contract? You can fire me after 2 years if you want to. I just said that out of ridiculous promoting. But somehow I convinced them that I'm the guy, and I got the job, and we moved to Atlanta. And there was a bunch of people I had to fire. I hate that part of the business. But we basically went from, I think, a 1.5 share in demo. And within 2 years, 2.5 years, I think we were doing 7s in Morning Drive.
Yeah, you son of a bitch. I'm over it now. Believe what I called you back. And then a good guy showed up. Holy shit. Well, that's a story. So I've been so fortunate to be able to have the chance to work for Cox for 27 years. This is just a really great company. I'll always be indebted, you know, to be doing that. The third little story is I had to figure out, well, I'm not really a program director. The reason I was hired, according to Mark Morgan, was because you were the only guy that showed up that was a content guy. So then I had to get used to trying to figure out how to deal with, you know, some high-priced talent like Neil Bortz, and really cranky guy, hilariously funny. But the last story I have is, you know, when I was there and I got my first opportunity to meet with the talent, including Clark Howard and Scott Slade. They're still there, Neil Bortz. I had my meeting with Neil, and I said, we're gonna do an air check. And he kind of like grimaced. So he came into my office, which was really a story in itself. Got white horses everywhere, pictures, old furniture, it's like the old white columns in Atlanta. So Neil came in and he said, you know, I want to listen to the last 20 minutes of your show yesterday together. By hell you are. I've been through 27 guys like you. I'm not listening to myself on the radio. I don't do that, man. See you later. Well, you didn't have to be a genius to figure out who's gonna go, me or him. So I had to fix a relationship that got off to a really bad start. And half this business is having good relationships with people who can be, you know, trusted between each other. And the only way I knew how to do it, I took a shot. Neil had never played golf. So I said, why don't we just go out and break some bread at the golf course, not even talk about any business or anything like that. Would you like to learn? So we did. By about the 10th hole, it was a whole different kind of relationship because we both just sat in a cart, got to know each other, didn't talk a bit about radio, and through that grew a great friendship. And then I was able to somehow corral his talent in a way that, you know, best served all of us. It was great. I've learned so many things in this business that I love, so passionate about it still. I think we have a great opportunity, as many of us heard up here, from people who are the enthusiastic part of our bunch. It's a great fraternity, always has been. And I've had a lot of people, you know, to thank in my career, and that includes Bob and Mark and people like Phil Boyce and people like Sean Hannity. You know, thank you, Phil, for getting Sean the hell out of Atlanta. And then Sean and I became very close friends after that, and I've been working with him forever. So the friendships and the affiliations that you learn, a lot of it is being able to just help empower the people you work with something that you can articulate that they will understand. And fundamentals are always the key, but being able to have the empathy to emotionally understand that each person, each talent is different a little bit. They like to hear things a little different way. If you get that, you're on your way. You're on your way to victory. So anyway, I want to thank you very much for this. I appreciate the applause. I wanted to keep it down to 10 minutes or less.
And this has been quite an honor. Thank you.